Leviticus chapter 2, from verse 1. When anyone offers a grain offering to the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it, put frankincense on it. He shall bring it to Aaron's sons, the one of whom shall take from it his handful of fine flour and oil, with all the frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a memorial on an altar, an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is most holy of the offering to the Lord made by fire. And if you bring as an offering a grain offering baked in the oven, it shall be un, uh, unleavened cakes of a fine flour mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers anointed with oil. But if your offering is a grain offering baked in a pan, it shall be of a fine flour, unleavened, mixed with oil. You shall bring it in the pieces and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your offering is a grain offering baked in a covered pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. You shall bring the grain offering that is made of these things to the Lord, and when it is present to the priest, he shall bring it to the altar. Then the priest shall take from the grain offering a memorial portion, and burn it on the altar. It is an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is most holy of offering to the Lord made by fire. We'll go to verse 10. Hello everyone again. Uh, this morning we share again the Leviticus. Uh, as I told you, the Levite, actually there was a Jacob. He had two wives. One was Rachel and one was Leah. Then Rachel was a beauty. So, as a man like a beautiful, beautiful woman, uh, so Jacob loved Rachel, but the Leah, she was not beauty. So, God looked Leah, so God opened the womb of Leah. But Rachel was not good to deliver child. So this Leah got many sons. The first son was uh, Reuben. The first son was Reuben. The Reuben mean God look her. So it's like the Lord has surely looked on my affliction. The Reuben mean is like this. And the second son called Simon. Simon means God hear my things. God hear. So God will see me. And the third son was Levi. So Levi mean God, Levi means my husband will be united with me. So the Leviticus is the chapter and the books we united with God. So first step for the united with God, we share we need a burnt offering, isn't it? Yes. So when we see the story of Jesus Christ, one day Jesus went tabernacle, temple. When Jesus was in the temple, as you know, there was many animals like cow and sheep and oaf. Also, there was the man who changed money. So what Jesus done? Jesus remove all things was in the temple. All animals, Jesus scatter and Jesus remove out. But even though all those animals like cow and the sheep and the dove, according to God, it was like clean animals, isn't it? But Jesus refused them inside of a temple. Jesus removed every animal outside. So even though the cow symbol is loyalty, like as uh, like a patient, the cow has like loyalty, and the symbol of lamb is obedience. You know obedience, like follow well and obey. So the symbol of like sheep is obey. And how about dove? You know what is the symbol of dove? The birds of dove. The birds of dove like symbol is purity. Purity. So even though like cow and the sheep and the dove, they are all like clean animal before. But while they was in the temple, well, Jesus surprised. Jesus remove all those animals. What is this mean? No, even though all those animal is clean animal, once they enter temple, they cannot stay in life. They must die. They should be killed in the temple. But as much as they live in the temple, they are just things like make noisy and make dirty in the temple. In the temple, any animal cannot live, should be killed. Before God, any animal for the offering, they cannot live. They should be killed. Because as much as they just stay as a life, before God, it's dirty and evil and make noise. So as I told you, the symbol of a cow is loyalty. Even though in the church we are like loyalty before God, but as long as in the church, if we stay with the life, our own life, like we have our own voice, our life is not good. Also, as I told you, the symbol of sheep is obedience. Even though I obey very well, but before God, if still I have life, what is the mean of life? If I have my own like way and own position, even though I obey well, like a sheep, before God is evil. And even though like a dove is the symbolic is purity, very purity and clean, something like this. But even though very pure, before God, if we still have our own life, our own opinion, own thoughts, full evil. So when Jesus entered temple, what did he do? He couldn't see all the animal live in the temple. So once enter in the temple, the place of God, they must buy. With the life, before life of God, all the life is dirty, and there is no any good before. One day, one of a person asked Jesus, like, uh, good teacher, how will you say so? Then Jesus say, why you say to me good? Only good is so God is good. Then all the human being is evil. So even though animal like cow and the sheep and the dog, even though it's clean animal inside of a temple, though it's clean before God, it should be killed. Should be. So through this one we can know, you know, to be united with God, like Levite. I explained the meaning of Levite. Levite is a unite. So Leah, the wife of Jacob, when she got a son, Levi, he like give the name. From now on, my husband will be with me, and we will be one. So Levite is like one with the God. So to be united with the God, actually, like there's nothing we can uh, say our own life, own way. So today we read for the first time the Leviticus chapter 2. So when we see Leviticus chapter 2, we can see if we know the Leviticus chapter 1, Leviticus chapter 1 explain to us like uh, when uh, the man who didn't receive a salvation through Leviticus chapter 1, they can accept Christ. Through burnt offering, they can receive Jesus Christ. Then how about Leviticus chapter 2? Leviticus chapter 2 means once they accept Christ, after that, the way to live in the church. Leviticus chapter 2 is the way how we can live in the church after receive salvation. So when we see chapter 2, we can see so many words, same word, say fine flour. Can you repeat together? Fine flour.
Fine flour.
Yes, fine flour. So we can see fine flour so many times here. Fine flour, fine flour, fine flour, fine flour. So through this fine flour, God want to say something to us. So what is a flour? We see flour from the grain, grain,
Yeah.
like uh, even rice and you know like wheat. Wheat also one of the grain. So this offering, chapter 2, talking about grain offering. Chapter 1 was which offering? You remember?
Mm.
Yeah, which offering? Burnt offering. And the chapter 2 is grain offering. Grain. So grain offering means from the wheat. There is a grain wheat. Then to make a flour, to take grain wheat, first remove cover. So as our GNC stay in America, when we buy rice, uh, there is a time our brother most of the time they pick the rice because inside there is many copper and even stone, small stone, and many dirty things, isn't it? Then did you see cover of rice? Cover? Yes, we remove it, isn't it? So we remove the cover. So when we make a flour, also, flour, like when you make a chapati, also we use the flour, isn't it? Ugali flour and the chapati flour. So to make ugali and chapati, from the grain, remove cover, isn't it? Remove cover first. Even remove all like cover, then now grain, like grain, like crush, crush. Then if you crush it, now the grain, the shape lose. There is a shape of a grain. Even when you see corn has a shape, isn't it? But when you see ugali flour, can you see the shape of corn? We cannot see, isn't it? Because already crush it and completely like become flour. So to make the fine flour, as I told you, remove all the cover and crush completely crush. Then when it crush it, now the shape of grain disappear. The shape, the first shape, when crush it, now the shape disappear. Then you can see here, continue say not just the flour. Here we can see fine flour, isn't it? Fine flour means completely crushed, completely. So you can see like a very soft. When you make a ugali, even you can feel very soft, isn't it? So even I went to Mombasa. Who went to Mombasa among here? Yes. You went to the beach?
No.
You didn't go beach yet?
Because
Uh,
that time sleeping long sleeping wake up later. So
okay.
I cannot
Mint, you went to beach. So did you see the sun? Soft sun. It was very soft, isn't it? Yes. So this sun, you know, become like that soft sun. In Korea, it is not too much sun like this. Like it is like not too much soft, somehow soft. But Mombasa, really soft. So to be soft like this, it took time a lot. Like crush in the water, like touch it with water, continue. Then long time, now it becomes softer like the sand. So to be soft sand, you know, like need a lot of crush, a lot of crush. So here we can see the fine flour. There is a symbolic. To be in the church, we cannot stay in the church with our own shape. Own shape. We cannot stay together in the church with our own shape. We should be crushed like a flour. Remove all our like own shape. So this is why chapter two, which I told you, chapter two is the way to be united in the church. After we receive salvation, you know, even though we receive salvation, it's not just all. Now we receive guidance by church. So receive guidance of church. No, we cannot receive guidance of church together with my own shape, like my own belief or my own viewpoint. Huh? I have my viewpoint. I think like this, or my own will, and even not my own experience. So as much as I have my own, you know, we cannot be united with the church. So here we see many times like a fine flour. Now fine flour means from the grain, crush completely. So lose shape. So maybe people say like this, Pastor, since I'm joined the church, I follow church a long time. But I think this one I cannot accept. Even though I see this one, but this one I cannot accept. Maybe some people explain like this, but we needed to see the fine flour. The fine flour means completely crush it, completely. So the person who say, Pastor, actually I follow long time, but I think this one I cannot accept. Yes, maybe this one can say flour, somehow crush, but it's not fine flour. Fine flour means completely without any things like hard things. You know, when we remove something, there is the material to uh, separate with the hard one and soft one. And fine filament from all the hard, remove it and only remain most soft one. Most soft one is called fine filament. So even though we follow the church well, but as much as I have my own shape, no, it's not fine filament. So who has our own shape? The one who have their own experience and own view and own will and own like a belief. They cannot like be united with the church. So in the church, we listen sermon. So when we listen sermon, actually now most of the world of the churches, I'm sorry, most of the sermon look very kind and very soft. So anyone can listen. Like even politician can listen, even just a teacher can listen, even like a prisoner, inmate also can listen. Now word of sermon flowing like this, very soft, very just kind. So anyone can listen and say, it is blessed. But actually, true sermon, you know, it cannot be like this. Why? Why we listen, we touch the word in our heart. The word is not same with our heart. So when we listen the word of God without crush our heart, it's not true sermon. Like just soft and the kind, nothing change our heart. So the sermon which just remain as our own shape is not true sermon. So when we see the Bible, even when Jesus preaching to people, the people who listen, they touching a lot. Or even there was someone who touched a lot, they feel very angry and they even want to kill Jesus Christ. So we can find the book. Let's go Luke chapter 4. The 4, verse 28. Are you there? Luke chapter 4, verse 28. So all those in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, and rose up and thrust him out of the city, and they led him to the brow of the hill of which their city was built, that they might throw him down over the cliff. So you see, when the people hear Jesus preaching, you know, their heart was very crushed. So once they crush their heart, if they accept, it can be more grace after crush. But if those who just remain just in the crush only, they get angry more than before. Then how they wanted to do? They want to bring Jesus Christ, isn't it? And they want to push Jesus and make a fall down in the cliff. Why? When they hear the Jesus, they was very crushed. Their heart was very touching, so bitter. And even the preaching of Stephen. In the book of Acts, Stephen he preached. So when the people hear what the Stephen's preaching, they got so much angry. So what they do? Even they hold a stone and they kill finally. The sermon. When we hear the word of God, just remain as our heart is. It is not the right sermon. When we hear the word, at least in our heart, touching and crush. Yes, true. I live like this. Yes, I was evil. I was so dirty before God. So we needed to discover our image. So through the sermon, like crush as like fine flour, fine flour. So as much as our shape remain, we cannot be in the church. So I told you, yes, in the church, some people say, Pastor, since this year I follow church, but this one I don't accept. I cannot agree this one. Yes, maybe it will be hard to accept. But to be united with the church, two conditions to be united, it should be fine flour, fine flour.